Tell me, when you think about creative finance, what do you picture in your head?
Is it a specific deal structure, maybe a seller financing term sheet, or basically that it's just a subject to acquisition?
Right? Because if that's all that comes to mind, you're thinking about it the exact way everybody else does.
And exactly the way that keeps most people stuck in today's market.
Creative seller financing is not just a strategy.
And let me tell you, it's not a tactic, it's not a deal type, it's not a script that you memorized for a seller conversation.
Right? Creative seller financing is a way of thinking, and until you make that shift, you're going to keep using it like a trick instead of a tool. Tricks run out, tools don't die.
So that's exactly what we're going to dive into in this video for what that shift looks like for investors who use it today.
We're also going to talk about why most people who are winning in today's market are thinking differently than you do.
And the one competitive advantage that creative seller financing gives you that no interest rate, no market cycle, no competition can ever take away from you.
So as we always say, stay with us. Do not click out of this video.
Okay, so here's the honest truth about how most people approach creative seller financing.
They typically learn one structure. They go to YouTube, hear the word subject to, and then that's all they think of.
They get comfortable with seller financing, or they figure out a little bit more advanced strategy like subject to.
Right. And then they start applying it to literally anything.
Every deal that goes through the same filter, does this fit my structure?
And if it doesn't,
Yeah, they end up moving on.
right, no dice, no deal.
And here's what that's actually costing you.
You wind up not filtering out bad deals.
Right? You're filtering out deals that don't fit a box you built before you understood how many boxes were available to you.
Creative seller financing is an umbrella term. There are many, many tools within creative seller financing.
Yep. It is meant to, like Mike said, be a full tool belt so that when a deal shows up that traditional methods can't touch.
Right? You pull it out, you have the right tool, and not only the tool that you know, right?
So here's the shift we want you to make.
Right? Stop asking and stop thinking, would this work for creative seller financing? What do you think, Mike? What do you think, Jay?
Right? Start asking, what does this deal need that traditional financing can't give?
That's the switch right there. That little tweak.
The seller who can't wait for a 45 bank closing, that's a creative deal.
Right? And the property that may be appraised pretty high, but on the market, it won't sell, that's a creative seller financing deal.
Or let's talk about the seller who doesn't want a lump sum. They want monthly income for the next 20 years.
You'd be surprised at how many people want that.
Yeah, that's a creative deal.
Think about it. None of those you can get across the table with the traditional finance model.
Now, traditional financing tells the deal what it has to look like, while creative seller financing asks the deal what it actually needs. That's not a small difference. That's a game changer.
All right, we're going to show you right now exactly what thinking this way is going to look like.
The mental model that changes how you see deals.
And why the winning people who are winning right now in the high interest rate market have an advantage you probably don't realize.
And the long-term compound effect of thinking this way that most people never realize.
And that last one that Jay just said is the one that changes everything.
Don't skip ahead. Let's talk about that mental model, because this is where everything either opens up for you or stays exactly the same way it's been.
Here's most likely what you've been thinking, and maybe not you, but what we see all the time. You find a property, you always look at the price, right? You figure out if a bank will lend on it, you run the numbers, and then it most likely doesn't, and then you wind up moving on.
That's the traditional investor mindset that you've been taught from the beginning. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Right. Except when the banks say no, which is a lot, when the numbers don't pencil out, and when the sellers need something different that a conventional sale can't give them.
Which right now, it's more deals than you can think of.
Right. Here's how you start thinking when creative seller financing becomes a shift instead of just a tactic or a trick.
You find a property, you look at the situation, not the price.
Creative seller financing starts with the seller's need, then their timeline, and the problem you're trying to solve. Numbers never matter.
And then you ask what structure solves that problem and makes the deal work for you and them.
Right? Problem equals numbers in creative seller financing. Maybe it's seller financing. Maybe it's wrap mortgage. Maybe it's a lease option.
Maybe it's a combo nobody's ever written a course about because you built it specifically for that deal and that seller.
And we are doing one of those funky deals right now with a friend of ours, 9-unit, right? You have to stop fitting deals into structures that you already know.
And you start building structures around deals as they actually exist. That's not advanced creative seller finance. That's creative seller financing is meant to be.
Now, here's where it gets real.
Right? Because this isn't a philosophical difference, right?
It's showing up in the market today in ways that are giving you the competitive edge most people don't know exist or think that they can even do.
All right, so let's talk about where you are in today's market.
Right. We all know, as of today, interest rates are as high as they've been in a while. Traditional financing is super expensive, lender points, etc. And a lot of deals that were making sense a couple years ago don't pencil out anymore. You got to get them too cheap.
And if that's the way you're thinking, like most investors do, you're sitting on the sidelines just waiting for those interest rates to drop.
So here's what creative seller financing thinking gets you and how it does make that shift in your actual business.
You don't need those rates to drop.
Right? We're not borrowing from a bank, right? We haven't in a long time.
Yeah, when you're buying on seller financing, you negotiate the rate directly with the seller.
We consistently are buying properties with 3% interest rate. This house we're sitting in right now, we bought with a 2.8% interest rate. We've even bought a property recently at 0% interest.
Yeah, while this market right now, you're sitting around 6, 7, 8, or 9%.
Right? It's not a loophole.
Right? It's a completely different way of thinking about where the money comes from.
And Jay, what does that mean for everybody right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So for a traditional investor in your market that's sitting out, waiting, watching, calculating,
right? You could be out there closing deals
that they're not, right? Deals that they can't touch, that they don't even know what to look for. Deals that exist specifically because the traditional path doesn't work for them.
Listen closely. A high interest rate market doesn't slow down creative seller financing investors like Jae and I. It actually creates more opportunity for us because there's more sellers who are motivated, more sellers who need help, and more people who can't sell. This market is an opportunity for people like us.
Now think about what he just said and what that means for you, your pipeline, and your portfolio.
Right? For every seller you've talked to who couldn't find a conventional buyer.
For every property that won't appraise where it needs to be.
Right? And for every seller who maybe can't wait for the bank timeline, who can't wait for the appraisal or won't pass an inspection.
That is the gold for you, not them.
So here's what most people don't realize right now about this advantage.
Right? This isn't just about the market condition, right? It's not just about that rate.
And it's not something that's going to go away when the rates come down because we were actually killing it a couple years ago when the rates were down.
So creative seller financing thinking doesn't only work, like we mentioned, in those high rate environment. It's
meant to work in every cycle, every market, every deal. It's just the different tool you're pulling out.
And that's what we're going to talk about next here.
Right. So this is the reason most people never make the full shift. We see this all the friggin' time.
They end up learning those buzzwords or the creative seller financing as a response to their problem.
Right. It's a trigger. Oh man, rates went up. It's super expensive. Let me go learn seller financing because I think I can get a deal way better, right? Or maybe the bank said no, so it's like, oh, how can I go take over that person's mortgage?
Yep. So it's a reaction, right? That's the only time that they use it.
Right. And then when the environment changes, they go back to their old ways.
They go right to the traditional path, right?
Right. And then creative seller financing just becomes something that you throw in the back of your closet and you only look for it when things get hard and you brush it off.
But the investors who build real portfolios, the ones who actually get to 30 and 50 doors, financial freedom, they never go back to that traditional way.
Right. It fills those empty spots in your tool belt every single time.
Every deal you could do traditionally, you can still do.
But now you can go and look at all the other deals that people couldn't touch.
Because what? You have every tool they have plus a full belt of more tools.
It's not a niche advantage.
That's a permanent edge. And once you build it, there's no market condition, no rate environment, no competition that can take that away from you.
Absolutely. And Jay, what do we think that not many people are talking about right now?
So we essentially just covered a lot of it. The mindset shift, the competitive advantage, the permanent edge.
And it's true because it all does compound together.
The long-term effects of thinking this way is what actually builds the life you started all of this for. I know we did.
Right? And here's what thinking in creative seller financing actually is going to build for you over time.
Every deal you close on creative terms, you're not just adding a door. This is a big game changer for people.
You're literally adding a relationship and a track record.
Yep. The seller who financed your last deal, they know someone who needs the same solution.
This is a lot of times how we get a lot of our deals. Maybe that tenant buyer who's in the rent-to-own home you have, they know other families just like them.
And here's another one. The realtor who brought you a pocket listing because you could close creatively when nobody else could.
You know that they're going to call you first, and they call us every time.
That's not a pipeline.
It's literally a machine we've built just from being able to do things other people can.
And it runs on one thing, the fact that you can say yes to those deals everyone else doesn't know how to close.
And what we did 5 years ago is asked ourselves where we want to be 5 years from then.
The cash flow you want, the time you want back, the freedom you started this for.
If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Right? It comes from being the person in your market who can solve problems, like I mentioned, that nobody else knows how to solve.
And that all starts with one thing, and that's how you think.
Yep. You don't become that person overnight. I will say that. You become that person deal by deal every time you pick up that tool everyone else left on the table. That's the real creative seller financing game. And now you know what that is.
So let's rewind it. Let's bring it back to the top at the beginning of this video.
So remember, creative seller financing isn't just a strategy.
Right? It's not the one thing that you use only when the bank says no.
It's not a phase you go through when the market is hard.
Right? This is a totally different way of thinking. We want you to start to lead with this, right? Think about those extra cool new tools that you have in your belt.
It's the competitive advantage that works in every market, like I mentioned, at every rate there is and in every cycle.
And you could do it over and over and over again.
Every deal, every relationship, every problem you solve that nobody else could.
Those are the people who are going to make it. Those are the people who are going to build true financial freedom for the life that they want when no one else around them could.
So, if you've been treating creative seller financing like a tactic,
and if you've been waiting for the right market or the right deal to try this out,
if you've been sitting on leads and not knowing which tool to reach for,
this is exactly why people come to Jae and I to learn how to do creative seller financing.
Because like we mentioned, they're not just tactics. We teach you how to think so you can walk up to any deal in any market with any seller.
With confidence.
Yep, and know what to do. So, like we always say, we work with a small number of investors at a time because we go deep and work with your personal portfolio.
If you do want to make that shift, if you do want to make that mental change, reach out to us, whether it's in the link in the comments, a DM, however you would like to, and we'd love to chat. And in the next video, Jay, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to dive in deeper as to what's actually working right now.
I love this one. It's not going to be about theory or principles. It's actually what's going on today.
That's with sellers, with acquisitions, with exit strategy, with marketing, with AI.
Right? Because understanding the mindset is always one part of it.
Yep, but knowing where to apply it in today's specific market is another.
Don't miss it.
Disclaimer. This content is provided for educational and informational purposes only. The views and strategies discussed are based on personal experiences and do not guarantee specific results. Real estate investing involves risk, and each individual's financial situation is unique. Always perform your own due diligence and consider professional advice tailored to your circumstances before making investment decisions. This is not a solicitation to attract investors, nor are we marketing any securities. Neither the hosts nor guests assume liability for any outcomes associated with the information provided.